John, there's nothing going on. And then at 2 o'clock, I get an email.
Okay.
6 weeks.
I'll go look at that now. So it's not related to knee replacement knob. It was something separate I did. I went over to the right knob. Like you said, you know, because this was the gas, my igniter's over here. I turned this one like the igniter the wrong direction and it popped.
And that's what she's saying, could be, because if that half moon is not right the way it should be,
So,
yeah.
could be
I think I'm-
How to fix that, she, you know.
You have miracle workers.
Yeah.
Anyway, my wife kept saying, that's not me, it's like, and then I tested it, bottom the trailer up, the alarm went off. So, yeah, after several hours, I mean, overnight.
How long you doing?
Yes, it took a while, it's really, really minor. I did. No, if you do it hard enough, you can. There's no.
It's
Cause dude, my stuff hard, I don't know if I grabbed the wrong knob. I grabbed the one next to me, but I missed. It starts at 200 and goes up. I know.
Which knob it is.
Or it's not the knob, it's something else.
Well, Mr. Mayor, be regrouped.
I know.
30.
I know, second here, I'm just looking at something. All right, it's 6:30 and we're gonna get started here and I'd like. Oh, no, sorry, Brandy's a one-man show, she's. Needs me to slow down. There we go. Good evening, I'd like to welcome you and call to order the Portership City Council Work Study Meeting for Tuesday, January 20th. Please stand and join me in the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we've got an agenda, and if we get our work done timely, I've got 3 bonus items I'd like to share with you guys tonight. And first is I got a proposal for the mural downtown. So I'd like to show you what that could look like. I shared with you in December, I had a meeting on the Gorse Coalition and the alternatives. I wouldn't mind putting on the screen and showing you guys what those alternatives the state's looking at. There's a lot of information in the packet, but only a few of the slides are relevant. And then I've got an update too on the Bay Street funding. I got an email this afternoon about that. So all of it's good. So let's get rolling here. The first item is the nomination and appointment of a mayor pro tem. Councilmember, go ahead.
Correct me if I just incorrectly,
Okay.
but I'd like to nominate John Morrissey.
You did that exactly right. And somebody needs to second it.
I'll second.
I've got a second, third, and a fourth. Do we need to vote?
I'd like to have a discussion. So I'd just like to have a promise by Mr. Morrissey that when the gavel falls, it will fall with a little bit less impetus since I'm sitting right next to him this time.
I'm trying not to get that from you, but I like to make it.
Otherwise, I think it's an excellent choice.
Got a happy gavel.
Gavel heavy, but a little attempt to rein that in.
Okay. So you've got any other nominations? I'm not hearing any. All in favor of making this Councilmember Morrissey Mayor Pro Tem for 2026, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Don, you want to vote against it? Nope. All right. All right, first order of business is done. We got council committees. We could do this by paper. I would recommend, I think the last couple of times Brandy's put a spreadsheet up and we have done this. You know, typically the most senior council member says my 1, 2, and 3.
Sure, I'll sell it.
Okay, wonderful. Okay. Sure, can you hear us? Okay, you're muted yourself, so okay.
Yes, I was a little bit confused. I thought we were all meeting together, and then I got a notification that said a Zoom notification that said to be by panelists for this meeting. And so I thought that this would move to a Zoom meeting. So I apologize. I got confused. Otherwise, I would have been there in person.
We'll work through it. I'm sorry for the confusion. Yeah, the clerk's office sends those out every week.
Every single meeting we have, sure, you'll get one of those. Just
Yeah,
like-
it's an option for anybody that's out of town or can't attend in person. So it's just.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah.
Got it. Thank you.
All right, so we should be able to work through this just fine though with Shara larger than life there at the end of the table.
Am I? That's awesome.
Okay, all right, that's right. Brandy's putting up a spreadsheet. So we've got a number of committees, and let's just run through them. We've got ED Tourism. We've got the Utilities Committee, which includes responsibility of the Sewer Advisory Committee, which meets roughly quarterly?
About every 4 months.
Okay, every 3 or 4 months, you guys meet. Transportation Committee, Finance Committee, and Land Use are the main committees. Then we've got Lodging Tax. I serve on the Kitsap Regional Coordinating Council at KRCC, and we have a seat for a second council member. And then someone serves as an alternate, and they would back up myself and whoever the council member that is serving there. KETA, I serve on the KETA board and the KETA executive board. And then we also have a second seat. I know that Councilmember Morrissey and Councilmember Ternary are also KETA members, so they're already there and serving in that capacity. Doesn't mean that other people can't do that also. We need to have an alternate for KETA, is preferable. PSRC, I'm on the executive board and I need an alternate for that. I serve on the Transportation Policy Board, but I serve at the will of the Transit Board for that. And so Transit actually appoints my alternate, and it'll be one of the other cities and not us.
And they had me on a economic as an alternate. Like I still get all their information.
Yeah, okay, so
I don't
there
know if
are,
that needs to be replaced or not. I'm just.
so what will happen? Okay, let me finish this and then I'll answer your.
I just want to throw that.
Yeah,
I
so
didn't see it.
PSRC, I should have an alternate for the health board. I don't have an alternate for the Kitsap Transit, but Jay is currently every 2 years, they rotate a seat that goes Port Orchard, Bainbridge Island, and Paulsbo. Jay is in year 2 of that appointment there. So logically, Jay should serve out that term, and then it travels to the next city for 2 years. We won't see that back again in our city for 6 years. I will add, and I'd like you guys to just tackle it in this process. Every 6 years, Transit does a board composition committee. And unlike, so the Transit board is 9 members right now, but this will be 1 county commissioner and the 4 mayors that serve on this. And we have to review the composition of the board. We can't make the board larger, but we could change. So like the seat that Jay's in right now, that happened about a dozen years ago. I don't think it was at the last. And prior to that, the process was different for that other seat. There can never be more than 9 members. And I have some thoughts actually for that. I don't know how it will be received, but I put, if you guys wish for me to serve in that capacity at Transit. At the health board, and this happened because of state law, there is an option right now for us to have board members that are writers. And right now at the health board, we have people on our health board that are medical providers, members of the public. And I was skeptical. It's really cool to have those individuals on there. I'd like to have a discussion about 2 of our seats being a ferry rider and a bus rider. And so right now, the 2 extra seats, one goes to that rotating at large and the other one, Bremerton always gets it. And then the other 3 cities. So, if we can entertain that, and tackle that, otherwise we'll have to do it a different night, but I know that's coming in the letter coming from Kitsap Transit. So that, and then John, so at KRCC, there are other, there's the Economic Development Board.
Yes, sir.
It's PSRC, you're correct. I'm sorry, I got the acronym wrong. And we may have an opportunity, but we don't know tonight whether those opportunities, and John says John was our economic development chair. And it was our turn, and I don't know how that's gonna play out this year. So, so likely that will change, John, but I don't know that for sure. Okay, so I'm making myself a note.
And Mayor, we have a ad hoc board for 6 months. We need to add to the list too.
Okay.
Or the ad hoc committee, excuse me.
Yeah, okay, and then, what was that called again?
That was just review of council operating norms.
I don't think we had a formal name, so let's name,
No.
let's name it. So just an ad hoc committee. Okay. Are you guys comfortable with that being separate of these? Because I think really the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the first 5 is typically that's figured out, and then folks that have lighter, assignments kind of send to fill in the other stuff so that we can, you can balance the loads
too.
Yeah. Okay. We comfortable with where we're at? You guys have any other thoughts on how we go about this? It's your guys' meeting, it's your committee assignments. I'm just preaching from the past. What's that?
Yeah, we filled it out last time.
He's already got
We
it.
can, I'm just trying not to manage paper
Oh, okay.
and records.
We just go down the line and people.
Well, I thought
do one,
we
two,
ranked
three.
which ones
did,
we
yeah.
did.
We do, yeah, and that's what I'm up, so what
Sorry.
what I would propose and how we've historically done it, is Scott's the most senior council member. He's at my first, second, and third choice for committees.
That's fine, but I think it should go to a vote, though.
I think so.
If it's, and it will, so you're jumping ahead here, so, we'll try to grant everybody's one first, okay? And if there's any ties, then it comes to a vote.
Sure.
Okay, but I think in 19 years, I've seen it happen once where everybody put it up there and there wasn't any votes, but probably, you're likely gonna have a vote on something, on somebody's 1 or 2. And then from there, I think it's only fair, let's say the 4 of you wanted one committee as your top choice, and that the person, Mark got voted off the island, that Mark should get to restate what, because he doesn't get that one, okay, a different number 1 since he got, do you think is that fair or not? Or is he just out?
We just talk through it as we go. I think this-
Okay,
that'd be
we're-
fair, just to-
okay.
I don't think we should put someone in just because they didn't get their first one.
Okay.
Not the first.
But I have a question.
Sure.
Why does seniority go first? We're all
I-
equal in this, so I don't get that.
I just said in the past, that's how we've done it.
He's not saying for a vote, he just said this to list.
Where to start?
We can go alphabetically, it doesn't matter, we all get to state our position.
Okay. But yes, sir.
Just for kicks and giggles,
Uh-huh.
I know I had said something last time. Would anybody be interested in abolishing committees and just doing a second work study each month?
Elaborate.
You wouldn't have any of this committees, you would have,
Has gotten rid of all of their committees, so everybody can have a say, because generally stuff is gonna come to us anyhow. And in my mind's eye, that would be all of us hearing from those things, and then we're doing it all at once. One, I know that there are now more than one, that can't necessarily do it during the workday. And so I'm just throwing that out there. So again, before we go through all the hoopla, maybe it is, I'm not sold 100% on it, I just had the idea and thought I'd check, so.
As an example of that,
Yeah.
the utility committee we attend the utility committees. And then the same information is presented at a work study.
Sometimes,
Very,
yeah, because.
very rarely it's not.
Because if you guys, because that historically, what the process is, things are vetted at a committee. And that's how they get to the city council. And if the council doesn't like what they, we got more work to do on this before it's ready for a work study, or don't support it going to a work study, it doesn't advance. Many times, most of the times it does, eventually, and sometimes it's, 2-3 times at a committee before, particular some of Nick's land use stuff gets massaged a lot before it gets, utilities are pretty cut and dry.
Right.
But land use isn't necessarily. Finance will talk about things sometimes more than once before they get to the council. I hear what you're saying.
Land use is different. We have definitely on land use, we have squash some things.
I think transportation is, although somewhat uneventful, is a little different.
Yeah. Yeah, transportation utilities are more black. You've got engineers doing it for you,
I agree, yeah.
black and white.
But along those lines, we still have a say-so with all those committees. And when we're doing a city council meeting, we always present what we said at what took place. At a work study, I mean, you can only get the second person to put it on for a work study. And if someone agrees to that, then it can go to city council or a work study. So I don't really understand, because we all get to hear everybody, just like the departments. Okay, what did the department say? What is our city or committees? So what's the difference that you're trying to propose?
We wouldn't do this at
We
all.
wouldn't do
Committee
committee,
and committees.
and everything would come to, we'd add another study session instead of,
Studies.
and then. I'm just throwing something out
We've
there.
been meeting every
Yeah.
Tuesday.
Yeah, or Tuesday about it, and then if there's a fifth, you'd say no, right? Which would take whatever time you had allocated to these committees and put it at one.
On one of
meeting on
these,
Tuesday
and then
from
we
there.
vote and talk about it there.
I'm not,
Jake?
I like the idea in some respects.
yeah.
My,
I'm not very
my,
religious.
my only issue with it is having served on all the committees, and you're right, some of them are more dynamic than others. It allows things to be vetted. And if we tried to take everything from committees into a work study, we could have some either real long work studies, or we would miss some things. And so right now, I kind of like this because when something comes up, I can say, oh yeah, I reviewed this in the packet, and then look at you or Mark, because it's finance, and say,
Hey, what did you hear?
what was the high point? Because there's some mundane stuff that goes into a committee meeting that, thank God, doesn't come to the council. Like when you're talking about the comp plan or for land use or things like that. And so at this point in time, I would say let's continue where we're at.
So, I think about when we're running full steam, let's just say 5 committees, that's 5 hours, so each one's about an hour. That's more than a work study.
It's true.
I would say that my pushback on that is, I don't believe all 5 committees generally meet in any one given month. And in fact, for 2 months running,
Yeah,
none of them have, right? So,
Yeah, it's close.
yeah, and it does, right? So I'm not married to it. I'm not saying yes or no. I'm just throwing it out there.
Things are building up. We're gonna be meeting pretty regularly here, at least for the next quarter.
But I want to echo a little bit of what Jay is saying. I think for communication and for the quality of the information that we have, I think the committees is the right way to continue to go, because we do vet a lot of stuff out in the committees. And I know I've used every council member in here and some that are no longer with us to bounce questions off of when I see something coming to a council agenda and I know it had to do with their committee. I was able to go to them directly and go, what about, how come? And get my information from those folks directly. So I think the committee, at this point, I think the committee process is still the way to go.
Shira, I know this is all new to you, but If you, I'm hearing a couple of strong advocates to keep the same structure. John's through the idea, but he's wishy-washy about it, and I haven't heard anybody strongly feeling that.
Yeah, I didn't do enough research in the sense of, John, do you happen to know how long Paulsbo has enacted that?
They just switched to that this last year, so I
Yeah,
don't know.
recent.
I don't
So
know if
there's
they have a
information. Well, I think, from my perspective, it might make people be more efficient with their time, less verbose. Because like a lot of times, if you're in a committee and you have an hour to talk, you're going to probably talk the whole hour. Whereas if you're going to have to sit there for like 5 hours going through this, you're probably less likely to just keep going back and forth, unnecessarily. I'm just being real because I don't like meetings. So I try to make my meetings as efficient as possible. So in that way, I don't like the idea. I like the idea that it kind of forces people to be more efficient. Also, either way, committee, not a committee, I rely on my own research. So, even if it's going to be great to hear what the committee says, but me personally, I just know how I am. I'm going to do my own research regardless. So, for me, not having a committee is awesome because it would probably cut, it's not going to, it might cut down the amount of time we're actually talking about things. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing.
Do you know why they chose that? I mean, I don't think they're nearly as busy as we are, but do you know why?
And they meet before, they meet before, the council meeting, I think.
And they do that too, yeah. They did multiple, some of it is, there were folks on committees that kind of became mini fiefdoms and things like that. Or people that just, it just broke down. Well, that's his, and you can't know any of it. There was some weirdness about it too, some of it as well, and just, hey, they found that it worked, or I have this question that was answered here and answered here. And then I think I heard that, again, I think what kind of brought it to my mind is we always talk about our staff capacity. If they're less having to have these conversations in multiple different forums, and it's kind of here, right? As long as we treat these study sessions like study sessions, so that it is a little more informal, and we're not going to make flow and that kind of stuff, and move it forward. I thought it made sense in my head, and I thought it might be something to try, but sure.
And Charlie's got to do that.
Just wanted to offer that the committee of the whole model is one that a fair number of cities use in lieu of breakout committees. I believe I have at least 2 clients that have used committee of the whole for a long time. And so it's in your off week, but it's exactly as the council member is describing. It replaces the breakout committees, and it's where you gather as a committee of the whole to preview issues before they move to the formal agenda.
I don't know that it saves staff. Well, it's different times for different staff members, and we're gonna meet where the committee wants to meet. If the committee